Welcome to Fired Up. I'm your host, Ben Solf. Today is a very special day because it is my father's birthday. He's turning 70 years old today. And the backstory to this is that my father has had cancer for the last 22, 23 years, and the doctor gave him 5 years to live when he received that diagnosis. So I want to dedicate this special occasion, this episode, to my father. I'm gonna read a post that I wrote 12 years ago on Facebook. It's a very powerful story, and I think it still resonates till this day, 12 years later. Today is my father's birthday. I want to pay respect to a man that I hated, partly because of my own selfish reasons when I was a kid. I used to think my father disliked me for a very long time because of some of the things that he would make me do. I mean, off the wall shit. Nothing I couldn't handle, though. One famous act my father was known for was that he would make me rake leaves on the windiest day of the year. Always. Now, if you knew where I lived on Grant Street in Gary, Indiana, you know that my yard was fenced in on both sides. We had 3 trees, but the neighbors had maybe between 3 houses, there was about 10 to 15 trees. Okay? So I could be chilling inside, and the moment I heard the wind hit the house in the fall, I just put my head down and go, oh God, here we go. And then sure enough, not even 10 minutes later, hey boy, go rake the leaves. It would literally take me all day because the wind would be blowing. You rake the leaves, they'd get stuck against the gate, then you got to get them off the gate. It was a nightmare. And for years I did this. Make me rake on the windiest day in America. I couldn't stand my dad for that shit. After about 8 or 10 years of brute force, I learned how to rake the leaves with the wind and catch them along the gate. So an all-day job would literally take me about 4 hours. I got so good at one point, he would tell me, hey boy, go rake the leaves. He'd go downstairs in his lab, and by the time he came back upstairs, I thought I told you to rake the leaves, boy. I'd be like, I'm done. Now, if you know me, then you know that I'm the type of person I don't like authority. I don't like people telling me what to do. But I'm also aware that there in life, there are people that's going to have to tell you what to do. So as a kid, I began this proactive sarcasm to where I know what's going to be asked of me, and I would do it so that I could look at them, my parents, and say, I already did it. Come on, like, aren't you being observant? Like, and I would give them that, like, it's done. Oh, what do you mean it's done? It's done. I already did it. Oh, okay. So that was my sarcastic way of being like an asshole when I was a kid. I was proactive. Since I didn't like people telling me what to do and I knew what was asked of me, I just did it. And so I knew that they weren't being observant. They were just being routine parents. Hey, didn't I tell you to take the garbage out? The garbage is already out. Come on, man. You didn't even look. Like, so that was me. Now, my father knew me before I knew myself. I asked a lot of questions as a kid. Some he couldn't answer. So what did he do? He went out and bought me Encyclopedia Britannicas, considered some of the best forms of information back in the day. Britannicas were the internet before the internet. So that if I had a question that he couldn't answer, he'd point to them books. Hey boy, go get the books. Now, after my father was diagnosed with cancer, a couple years later, he bought himself a Harley. Now, this was a power move, in my opinion, because he was saying to himself, I'm not going to let this cancer beat me. I'm going to enjoy my life. So he bought a Harley. He's riding. He's having fun. He's doing his life. He's living his life, which is very commendable and respectable. So basically what I'm trying to say is that nothing shook this man off of his pedestal. And he always looked out for me no matter what happened. Even when I didn't think that he was looking out for me, this man was looking out for me. He loved me more than any man has ever loved me in my life, and he gave me all the proper tools to survive by teaching me how to use my brain and not my brawn. Had he not been sending me out to rake those leaves and me being as stubborn and proactive as I am, I wouldn't have figured out how to use the wind and the fence to gather the leaves, which was very easy. You just pick the leaves up and let the wind catch them and they'll hit the gate. Next thing you know, you're raking them down the gate and you're done. So I can never repay this man for the lessons he taught me. I can only show him that he taught me well. One of the things that I want to thank him for, and my father took me to Disney World. I will never forget this in my life. And I was overwhelmed as a kid. This is the biggest thing in the history of all kiddom. Think about that. A kid in Disney World. All your dreams are coming true at this point. I'm on Small World. I'm doing a haunted house. But the one thing that I remember the most is at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, I feel myself floating. We're walking away from Disney World. And I didn't realize it, but then I look down and I'm floating. I'm literally floating. And I look up and it was my dad carrying me because I was so tired. I was so exhausted. I had so much fun at Disney World. I literally wore myself out. And the one memory that I have of my father was that he carried me because I was so tired. That has stuck with me for my entire life. I remember Small World. I remember us going into the haunted house, and there's a gravestone, dear old Dave, who chased a bear into a cave. But the one true memory that I have is me floating away from that castle. Just looking at that castle as I'm floating away. I look down and my legs are off the ground. I look up, and my father got me in both hands, just carrying me. And for that, Mr. Rodney Graves, I love you. God bless you. And I will never forget all the lessons that you taught me in my life. Happy birthday, Dad. Peace.